Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and our love for the knitting community. And we do it all with the twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I was going to say I'm frugal Dawn, but that would not be true. I am frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am fourth of eight. And somebody asked us what the split was. Boys to girls. So there are 3 girls and 5 boys.
Yes. And I am Frugal Miss Penny, which no one would ever challenge. And I am the oldest in the birth order. So when you join our virtual knit nights, you will see our other sister who is faithful Nikki. So a hearty welcome and thank you to our returning viewers. We are so glad you're with us again for episode 37. We're hoping that you take away a nugget or two from our journeys. And likewise, feel free to contribute to the conversation. We always enjoy learning from you. And for those of you who are first-time viewers, we're so thankful that you've made time to give us a try. And we hope likewise that some of our musings will be of benefit to you. So without further ado, grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and a hearty sense of humor, because this is the beginning of episode 37. Take it away, Dawn.
Okay, what is around your neck? I love the colors.
This is Alliteration scarf number 2, and it is nothing but a collection of scrap fingering weight yarns. I put a cuff on the end so that you could use it as a muff if you wanted. It is knit on a US size 3, and I cast on for this one 94 stitches. I'm doing an experiment. And the pattern is by Theresa Schabes. And so I encourage all of you to give it a try for a good scrap busting project. I have no rhyme or reason in this scarf whatsoever other than I like color. So it earns an obvious $1 sign on fiber and $1 sign on the pattern. What about you? Your neck is adorned this morning.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about this. Oh, by the way, is that a free pattern for the alliteration on Ravelry? Okay.
It is.
This is the Albany Alpaca Cowl. There it is in its height.
Woo!
It is a pattern by Jane Veitenheimer, and I think it was a collaboration with Blue Sky Fibers. So this is Blue Sky Fibers. I bought it as a kit at Stitches Midwest, I think 2018, and it was in the Stephen B booth. And the only alteration I made was they just had a rolled cuff, and I added some ribbing to the top and bottom. I love the primary colors. I used almost all of the ivory, but I bet I had maybe 5-6 grams left of all of these. So I should send them to you. They'd be pretty in one of those alliteration scarves. I like it. You know, the longer, taller cowls are always a little bit of a challenge for me, how to wear them. So I just tucked this one in. I suppose depending on what colors you want showing, you can just flip it around. But I like that alpaca yarn. And so, you know, I didn't again write down the price, but I assumed that it's probably 3 on the frugalometer. And again, I didn't look. I think it's a free pattern maybe on Ravelry because it was a collaboration. So yeah, very good. I think it'd be fun to do maybe mittens with a couple stripes in it if I had enough of that yarn left over. So, and I never know in a kit like how many, I didn't measure like how many grams of each of the colors. I would like to say I would eventually do that, but I'd be fooling myself.
Well, you are really getting into hats. Maybe a hat wouldn't be a bad idea.
You know what?
Either.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be pretty, I think, Dawn.
You know what? That is probably a better choice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I think, well, why not do both?
Yeah, I'd have to buy more yarn. Oh, okay. I haven't bought yarn for about 20 minutes, so I'm pretty good to go. Yes, it was a bad shopping week at our house. I mean, it was a good shopping week, bad for the checkbook.
Well, you know what? I'm going to save you right now, and I'm going to talk about what is around this Opal's neck.
Thank you.
She is wearing the Manic Panic Cowl. As many
Oh,
of you remember, I knit this sometime last year. It is long enough that it would wrap around all 7 days in a week, though. I got to tell you, if I put it around my neck, it goes below my knees, like other parts of my body. So it is just a cute little scarf. It is done in a linen stitch. It's a free pattern, so it earns that $1 sign on the frugalometer. It is by Sarah Core. The fiber is a KnitCircus gradient, and I also used a heritage sock. So it's because of the slip stitches, there is a white in there to tone it down. It was pretty neon. The KnitCircus base was in Magnificent DK. It earned a 4, possibly a 5 on the frugalometer. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the Manic Panic.
Yeah, and by the way, I like the way the pattern is written because they give you 3 options for sizes. I chose the largest because I wanted to be done with the yarn. I was not a fan of gradients, but I bought them out of peer pressure. And so I just wanted to get it off my needles.
I can't imagine anybody who would pressure you into buying yarn.
Oh boy, I don't know how I got caught up into all that, Dawn. Oh,
We
by
should
the way,
like,
if I offended anyone with my last comment, I'm sorry. It just rolled off my lips. Okay, go ahead, Dawn.
what comment was that? I missed it.
I'm
Okay, yeah,
not
okay.
gonna say it again. Then I would have to ask for forgiveness twice. It'll come to you in the middle of the episode and you'll start giggling and then you'll go, oh,
Okay.
I know what you said.
I'm a little slow, but I get it. So this is what Miss Ruby is wearing. Oh, that shows true to color. It is that bright teal.
Ooh,
This was a
Dawn.
pattern by Laura Aylor, and it's called January Thaw. And the yarn is Sun Valley Fibers, Merino worsted. What's it called when you can wash it?
Superwash.
Superwash. Very good. Thank you. And Sun Valley Fibers has an annual knitting retreat in January in Madison, and it's called January Thaw. And so when they bring usually a person in to teach for the weekend, they always come in with a project. So I saw this at Sun Valley's booth at the Madison Knit-In one year. And so lovely, lovely, heavy because it's worsted. So it's a couple years, maybe 2018, I knit it. I just like it. I like that border. I like the color, and yet I haven't worn it. So I either need to decide to wear it or gift it. So lovely. I followed the pattern just, to the T. So
it is beautiful. I would say it's one of those color pattern combinations that grabs your eye and your attention. Very aesthetically pleasing.
it's a good example of right yarn, right pattern, because that would look totally different, even in a speckled, I think, let alone a variegated. So I like tonals. I love Sun Valley's colorways. That's called, did I say that's Cousteau?
Oh, no, you didn't say it, but I like it.
I thought that was a perfect name. So that is what Miss Ruby's wearing. What are you working on while I see you sitting there knitting? So what's on your needles?
All right. So last night at Knitting with the Aunties, I was minding my own business and we were kind of chatting, and our dear sweet niece said, oh, Aunt Penny, have you started our knit along? Why, no, I haven't, Miss Brianna. I didn't know we were supposed to start. She goes, oh, then I won't tell you. I said, oh no, you have to come clean now. That young lady, Fearless Brianna, fits her to a T. She and I are doing the Audreys Cardigan knit along with Elizabeth Smith, and she got a jump start on me. And that young lady had already completed the bodice of that sweater by last night. She figured increases and decreases on her own. She figured out the armhole shaping. And Miss Brianna, although I gave you a hard time, darling, I cannot tell you what a treat it is, first of all, for Aunt Dawn and I to knit with you, but how humbled I am by your willingness to just jump in and knit. And you keep knitting, darling, because yours is going to be done far before mine. So that's what I am working on. So last night, out of embarrassment and shame, I, not from her, from myself, I cast on the cardigan. And while it looks like I have accomplished a lot, I am knitting in ultra chunky wool by Baracco on size 10s. My goodness, can it go any faster than that? So I encourage all of you, if you're not doing this cardigan, the tutorial videos are wonderful. Just a very simple cardigan. So that's what I'm working on. And I would say the pattern earns a $2 sign on the frugalometer, and the fiber probably about a 3. What are you concentrating
Perfect timing.
on right
Okay.
there?
So this is a test knit I am doing. The pattern's going to be called Falling Leaves, I believe. Of course, in test, you never know if that's going to be the final. This is a pattern by Joanne Kiley. She is the owner of Magpie's Cottage in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. It's a crescent using short rows and minis. So you'll see the leaf kind of motifs, and they're getting larger. I just completed the 5th of 6 mini skeins. So it will be a nice size crescent, because I'll just block the dickens out of it. So this is Kylie yarn, Joanne's now an indie dyer, and a mini set with the autumnal colors. And then I just had a skein of La Jolla base from a previous, and I think I had like 90 grams left on the skein. So I think I have no reason to believe that's not going to be enough to finish this. I'm getting better at short rows. And
Yes, you are.
so,
That's very
yeah,
pretty
I
one.
look at this first one and it's like kind of wonky. But yeah, I am liking it. So nice
Very
pattern,
pretty, Miss
Joanne.
Jane. Yes.
I hope maybe to have it done in the next week or 2, but I will let everybody know when that pattern goes for sale. And I don't know if she'll just have it on her website or if it'll go to Ravelry as well. Yeah, so I'm doing, I think I'm on a size 6, but my project page would tell you different. So I don't know how to do the frugalometer because it's a test knit, the pattern wise, and the Kylie yarn was reasonable for the mini set. So I maybe 2. And of course I'm using stash yarn. So yeah, liking it and looking forward to that being done and the pattern getting released. So
Pretty, pretty, pretty.
it is. What else is on your needles?
Well, I am still finally getting in the groove with my wingspan. So as you can see, my shawl is growing. So the name of this pattern is Wingspan, and it's by Kyle Vey. I'm knitting it in the blue brick Mantoulin base. It has a shimmer in it. You can see that. And it's in the Ibis colorway, which is another, I don't think it's a gray. I don't know if this is a true gradient or it's just a slight shift in colors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
don't know
a soft blend. But I am very near to getting into this pretty deeper CMOS green. I would not say that it has become intuitive like the designer hoped that it would, but I would definitely say I am reading my knitting much better. Again, a lot of increasing. So I have developed a little what do you call them? Just a little saying to help me remember, make right, make left. What do you call that little thing? Jingle. Thank you. A little jingle in my head. And I can do it somewhat while the television is on. It definitely earns a $3 sign on the frugalometer for the pattern and a 5 on the frugalometer. 5 on the frugalometer for the fiber.
And that is being made for a daughter-in-law.
It is. And I was hoping to have it done by Christmas, but that's now going to be Christmas 2022. 1 probably.
I thought you were going to say like 29.
Well, I'm hoping to get it done before then. What
Oh,
about you?
funny.
Do you have anything else on your needle, sis?
Well, Stephen West and I spent some more time together this
Oh,
week.
did you?
Boy, I'm not done, but I will give you an update.
Woo!
Last week, I was lamenting about I can't have all my needles are crammed on a 60-inch needle, or all my stitches are crammed on a 60-inch needle. So I have just this morning actually switched to 2 60 inches, just for the purpose of this because it'll show a lot better. It is Slip Stravaganza, and I'm telling you, the more I work on it, the more I love it. So for those of you not familiar with the Mystery Knit Along, it came out in clues 1 a week. So this first honeycomb session was clue 1, section was clue 1. Then this little columns section was an early release. So they call that section 2. And then section 3, look at this. When you can spread the stitches out, you can really see that pattern, can't you?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I had, again, never had done what I would call traveling I-cord with slip stitches. I just think that is stunning.
I do too.
Yeah, section 5 was this checked section, was how he labeled that. And then with these little short row triangles, look at those. Okay, 26 of them, I think, or something like that. And then now I'm on the final section, and that is the border, which are these chevrons. Now you can see the light gray chevron really well when I hold it up like that. Now, right below it is a pink chevron. You can see that. But last night I just started my 3rd color, which is the lighter or the more medium gray. Okay, get a hold of this now. When I'm done with that, it repeats again. So I think I overestimated my stitches last week. I think I said 975. Oh, only 920. It'll increase to 945, I think. So interesting watching the boards. Some people are just doing 1 because that is just oodles of stitches. It takes me, I bet, 50, 55 minutes for 1 across. And I did 18 rows this week. So when I'm thinking I didn't get much knitting time, I guess I did, because that is
a lot of knitting
yeah.
time, Dawn.
So 48 rows total of chevrons, and then an I-cord bind off. Oh. So Christmas 2029 seems reasonable to me.
Hey, not if you keep up 18 hours a week just on that.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'll always be able to do that, but he basically is saying now, shoot for the end of the month if you can. Otherwise, knit your little heart out and end whenever you want. So I'm going to call this an early success. I cannot wait to see it blocked.
Neither can we, for the record.
Oh my gosh, we were looking at some last night on Zoom, and they are just stunning. I'm happy with the yarn. It's Mode Knits Sock Luxe. It's 50% silk, 50% merino. And I believe all of these colorways are available on their website. And it's a size 4 needle. And I'm now on 260 inch. I may go down to 1 just for handling reasons because I get a lot of clicking on the table, but I now have to have it on the table when I'm knitting because of the weight. I don't want to stretch out any stitches. I'm sure they would all bounce back when you blocked. If I had to guess, 2 weeks maybe. Yeah. End of the month, I would think would be a fair bet too. But yes, Stephen West, Slip Stravaganza, paid for pattern. I'd probably call it a 2 on the frugalometer, and the yarn, I'm going to probably have to go 4. And I chuckle at this. I probably said a different number last week. So for me, the frugalometer is a moving target.
Well, it all depends on what you just purchased, right?
Oh, yes. My mailbox is going to be full next week. But anyway, I'm thrilled with it. And it's been a fun journey for sure. And thank you, everybody, for your kind comments and your support. Yeah.
We are living vicariously through you.
Well, and I think several from our virtual knit night are doing it. So I hope they bring theirs so that we can see them. And just the different colors to me are fascinating. And I bet people made alterations all along the way.
Mhm.
So it'll be fun to see that as well. So yeah, now is there anything else on your needles?
Yes, I have one other project, but I did not make much progress other than shaping the arms. This is for the Crocus cardigan. It is number 4 in my 6 sweet sweaters. I love the fiber. It is being knit right now in Valley Yarns. Mohair silk blend, just love it. The pattern itself was written by, let me get her name very quickly here so I don't miss, Annie Dempsey. It was Miss Annie Dempsey's pattern. I am knitting the 6-month size, so it's smaller, and I'm knitting on size 3s and 4s. I would give this a $1 on the frugalometer for the pattern. And for fiber, I'd give it a 3. I think it's a wonderful, affordable alternative to the higher end silk blends that you can buy. And the base is called the Charlemont. So if you are interested in something a little bit more affordable and you want beautiful drape and just nice knitting, I would recommend Valley Yarns, and that can be purchased on websyarn.com.
That is such a saturated, beautiful color.
I tell you what, it was originally designed, remember, for tenacity. I bought it for tenacity because that's going to be another nitty, a nitty. It's going to be another anti-knit along. I'm so glad I broke into it. I think I'll use the rest of those skeins for baby sweaters just because it's so pleasant. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And what about you? Anything else on your needles this week?
No, and I kind of blew right past what's off our needles. I have nothing completed.
I don't either. There's
No,
nothing
okay.
off needles.
I did start that hat last week for Nikki,
Yes.
and that variegated yarn was too busy for a ribbed cuff on a hat. So I just went back to Dragonfly Fibers website and ordered the blue color that's in there. I ordered that as a solid. So I look forward to that coming, and I will cast that hat back on again. So.
And speaking of casting on hats, for those of you who are waiting with bated breath for our next virtual knit night, it's just a week away. Saturday, November 14th, we will be knitting together via Zoom from 7 to 9 Central Time. And those of you who would like a project on your needles, we will be doing another cast on of a hat. So we are casting on Autumn Waves, and all that information will be, isn't that what it's called, Dawn?
Weaves? Is it
Autumn
weaves?
Weaves, thank
Okay.
you. That information is in our show notes, and it's always going to be, not always, it will also be included in the Hat Cal thread on Ravelry, and then I'll post it again in the show notes from our virtual knit night. So we would really invite you to join us for that.
That is just a good way for me to get a hat done a month,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if I would be doing it if I didn't focus and get it casted on. Anything you're learning?
Oh, yes. I am going to have to read my notes because I may have invented a word or two. So Kitten Wah on YouTube, you will enjoy this like none other because you and I have an alliteration connection, but this is not alliteration. I am learning. All right, this is going to be not a true equation, but kind of, that procrastination equals improvisation. Because I got a text that we're going to have guests at our house in 2 weeks. And I forgot to knit that little dinky darling his sweater. I knit one for his brother, but I kept putting off his. And I realized that I have procrastinated. So now I have improvisation, which means I had to end up making some impulsive decisions because I didn't manage my time well or my fiber. So I ended up changing the pattern because I needed something more doable. I knit his brother the Gramps sweater by Tin Can Knits, which I really liked. That was fun. So little Wesley's getting something different. And it also resulted in a purchase of fiber that I wasn't planning. So my improvisation then resulted in rushtonation, because now I am having to rush my knitting, and that rushed knitting has resulted in reprioritization. These are probably not words, and you'd never know that I was an English arts teacher. And because now I have to reprioritize, I had to revisit all my other options, and now I'm in truncation. I've had to shorten every other project in order to get the one that I need to get done in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, as Aesop might say, don't procrastinate. Just do it. So, yes, I have learned many lessons in the last 24 to 36 hours.
I think Wesley would look nice in a pink crocus sweater.
Oh my goodness. And it's been on the list. I have the list of all the baby sweaters I need to make. His is right there at the top.
Okay.
I don't know what I've been doing. Obviously, not what my list says I should be doing. So anyway, hopefully next week I'll have his sweater done and I'll be able to show it. And what have you been learning?
Here's how I would deal with it. I'd go onto Etsy and type hand knit baby sweaters. I really wouldn't do that. Okay, so here's what I'm learning.
You could order cashmere and knitting something very nice.
A pair of booties or baby socks. They're just a tube. Okay, here's what I'm learning. I took a knitting class this week. So I want to know if your brain explodes during a knitting class, does it make a mess? Woo! Okay, so this is the pattern we're using. This book, Rowan. These are cushions made by Arne and Carlos. Great deal. I mean, $7 for the book, and there's like 16 patterns, so that's a win-win.
Yes.
So we had to pick one of them in there for the class, and Miss Tina, who's our teacher, just said pick anyone and let her know. So let me show you a picture of the one that I picked.
What you're doing.
Let's see if I can get a bigger picture of it. The one that is on the page I marked, of course, is a little one. Oh, and this book is half in German. It took me a while to figure that out too. So
Melanie Berg did the same thing with her shawl book.
She did. I guess I don't see another. Oh, actually the back cover, the bottom one. So it's geometric. You can get on one side of the pillow. And then if you wanted to, there's a corresponding floral or intarsia. So she recommended doing the geometric first because it is, the whole purpose of this class is to learn Fair Isle flat. So I'm thinking, oh, I've kind of done a couple of Fair Isle hats. This should be kind of easy. Okay, look at the pattern. How do you read that? It's a graph.
You have to read it. Is it right to left and then left to right?
Right. So that's new for me. But those, I go cross-eyed looking at that small print. So I was whining to my husband, and he took.
Who loves you?
He does. He loves me very much, and I love him. So look what he did. I'm pretty sure this is going to be artwork. 200% increase. But now at least I can follow that. I don't want to show it too much because of the pattern, but I find that much easier to read than 8.5 by 11. Okay, so that's not what blew my brains either. Okay,
oh my goodness. I
have no trouble knitting, Fair Isle using the knit stitch. And I'm learning much better now to keep I'm a thrower, English style, right? So it's the continental that's a little challenging for me. So I'm thinking, well, if I can knit, I should be able to purl. No, that purl stitch continental makes me feel so uncoordinated. So that requires a lot of focus. And of course, tension's a big deal. So, we're sweating. Tina had us knit a swatch just to practice it. Okay. And then on the back side, I did not know there's a difference between catching and trapping yarn. And so she explained it beautifully. So you know how when you're doing Fair Isle, you catch floats?
Yes.
Well, so that's what you'll do. But also to trap, if I knit across, flip my project over and purl back, my yarn's not going to be in the right position when I flip it back to knit. It'll be hanging to the left where I need it hanging to the right. Otherwise, that diagonal pull will distort those stitches on the edge.
Oh.
And so trapping is just a matter of remembering to trap that yarn a couple of stitches before the end so that it positions your yarn right. So for me, maybe catching and trapping are synonymous for some people, but for me, she explained it great. Catching is for floats, trapping is to position your yarn. Couple of great videos to watch, but wow, that swatch was a challenge.
Was it?
So our assignment for this week, I haven't even cast it on yet, so I better get going, is to try to get 1/4 of the pillow done. That will be challenging for me. So this will be a 20-inch by 20-inch pillow. The back side, which will be knit separate, is just stockinette stitch. She's going to teach us how to put it in a pillow if you wanted to flap it over and put buttons if you ever wanted to wash it. And I probably will do that if I have enough yarn. So it was good to knit the swatch, 2 for gauge. I had to drop down a needle size. They recommended a 6. I'm going to need a 5. And let me show you the 2 colors I'm using. So a nice navy and a light gray. And I'll hold the label up. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Can you see it yet? Or it's blowing out, isn't it?
Oh, well, hang on. Let me put on my other glasses.
No, you can't see it. Okay, I'll read it to you. It's by Rowan. It's Alpaca Soft DK, and it's 50-gram balls. So I think I needed to buy 6 or 7 for the pillow. So I would give the frugalometer a 2 because that book was inexpensive. But here's a little issue I think with books, and this is just my issue. I love books that also give you a Ravelry download code. Because if I had that PDF, I could put that into a program like Knit Companion or just even into Adobe. And on my laptop, I could pull it up in front of me. But I didn't want to pay $6 for the pattern that I already have because it's in the book. So,
I agree.
So I'll be happy. It'll be fun to see everybody else's. I was sitting next to Miss Cindy and both of us were struggling, but in a good way. We both enjoy learning. And so I had to remind myself while I was there, and your words that you often use is learning's a messy process. And I can't expect perfection, and I won't, but it will be good for me to decide if I like Fair Isle flat, or can I teach myself to purl continental and maintain a fairly good gauge? So I'm going to try it.
Wow, Dawn, that project is full of gems. It
Yeah.
is full of gems.
And if you ever see no pillow and those 2 colors in a cowl, you'll know how it ended. So that is what,
funny.
That's what I'm learning. It's a good stretch for the brain. I'm not so sure my timing is good amidst Stephen West, but that'll be done in a couple weeks. And this class, we're going to meet 6 times. We're just going to take it slow. And Tina's there for moral support. So that's a class I'm taking at Silver Thimble Yarn and Quilt Shop in Green Bay. So
how neat.
So what's going on with Frivolous and Frugal?
Well, we are all still quite active on our threads on Ravelry. Please feel free to join us. You're welcome to enter any of the threads. Dawn is much more rapid at replying. I am not. So if you have a question specifically for me, just give it a few days. But we are active there. We are getting ready for the virtual knit night. As I mentioned before, we will have a drawing coming up. Our next drawing is going to be for YouTube, and that is going to be in episode 38. And the next drawing for the FinishFixorFrogItKAL will be episode 40. So that's about all that we have going on. We're just plugging along. People continue to just amaze me at their creative innovation when it comes to frogging and reknitting something or modifying a pattern. And if you need some ideas and inspiration, I encourage you to go to that Finish Fixer Frog thread.
Very good. And I did get in touch with Dawn, the Bat Lady Knits, who won last week, and we've been chatting back and forth on Instagram. I haven't mailed the package yet. Maybe I could get my act together and get that done today. And I did get a message that my package arrived in Canada. And Miss Norma was so cute. She wanted to know if I wanted to be reimbursed for all the Ziploc bags that I use. It's like, oh, no, just share those project bags with your friends. So yeah, so that is all going good. I am really looking forward to virtual knit night like I do every month. So yeah,
me too.
Yeah, I don't know. That is
fun.
A highlight for me.
And shy moments, I have yours all sitting ready to package for mailing, and I'm hoping to get that done this week. I should have some time this week. So thank you for being patient with us. I cannot think of anything else, Dawn, except what Nikki would say.
Oh yeah, what would she say?
Kind of aligns with what I learned this week. Nikki would say, always look for options when faced with a dilemma. It could be the choice of a club, because as you all know, our sister Nikki is an avid golfer. Some of her dilemmas might be choosing a different club, or it might be choosing a different needle size, different pattern, or different fabric. But you can do it. You can make it through the dilemma, and there will be success on the other side. So thanks, sis, for your words of wisdom. We appreciate it.
That is so true, right?
Yes, it is. And I think that brings us to the end of our show, Dawn, unless I've overlooked anything.
I don't think so. I don't have anything written down that
okay.
I was supposed to say.
You might have a quick shout out for some women, I think.
Yes, thank you for that. So my friend, Miss Kathy here in Green Bay, her sister owns a quilt shop in Appleton called Falling to Pieces. They just expanded their store and they have a large classroom. And some of the gals who quilt also knit. So they wanted to see if anybody wanted to get together to knit for a few hours. And Kathy asked me, how much fun, all new people for me to knit with. And just fun to see what people are working on, you know, Christmas ornaments. Somebody was crocheting these beautiful hats, sweaters. It was fun. That is Kathy's element. She knows everybody and it's fun to see her chat with everybody. So they're going to try to get together every week. I probably can't do that every week, but it just happened to work this week. So it was nice to meet you ladies, and I look forward to when we can get together again. Thank you for that reminder. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Yeah.
And speaking of looking forward, Dawn and I are looking forward to visiting with you again in our next episode, episode 38, and hopefully our virtual knit night. So until then, we're hoping that your week is a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. Have a great week. Chat with you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.